Hello, everyone. This is Ron Bush, and you're listening or watching the Information Playground. I'm Ron Bush. I own Ron Bush Consulting, and we are a cybersecurity consultancy company. Uh, we've got a book on Amazon called Staying Safe in a Very Dangerous World. That was written before COVID-19. It was dangerous then, still is, getting more dangerous. So if you're listening to us in Valparaiso, Indiana, I hope you've got your radio set to 103.1. That's WVLP, a local radio station. They do a great work and job in the community. If you're not there, I hope you check it out. Stream from WVLP.org. Go to the website, check out all they're doing in the community, and become a part of that. It's a way to make a positive contribution. If you're interested in underwriting this program or any of them on WVLP, just go to the website and you'll find out how to do it. The information playground is available to you on demand as well. Just about any of the podcasting platforms. I know it's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and a bunch of others. You can also find us on YouTube under the Information Playground. So with all that said, we've got a great guest today. Regular viewers or listeners will recognize him. John Lawrence, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for the introduction, Ron.
Well, yeah. Would you tell folks a little bit about you? I know you're a forensics guy for the Munster PD, but tell everybody the right way, who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name's John Lawrence. I work for Munster PD and also as a digital forensics analyst and intelligence analyst. Most recently, we basically put out a document every day about COVID with all the stuff going on in Northwest Indiana and Illinois, especially when new executive orders come out for it. We wanted to give that out to the community and everything like that, our NISA partners and anybody else we can get it into their hands, just to share information, especially, in times of COVID with the vaccine coming out and everything like that. I also teach along with Ron at Ivy Tech in Valparaiso, and I also teach at Moraine Valley in Palos, Illinois.
Excellent. Yeah, you're all over the place. You
all
kind of
over
like Santa Claus. You're everywhere.
yes.
So we always talk. John teaches cyber forensics or forensics at Ivy Tech. Mm-hmm. So we always talk about cybersecurity and things that are going on. John, you've got an article here that we both thought was really interesting. And the title of the article is "Things to Watch For or to Watch Out For in 2021," mm-hmm. since we're kissing the new year almost.
Yeah.
The lead thing with this, the lead article, the number one article on this is more pandemic-related phishing.
Yeah.
Let's explain. I know most of our listeners know what phishing is, but let's start there. Explain what phishing is, and then talk about how the pandemic has helped cyber criminals.
Well, I would say the pandemic, phishing attacks probably started back in February or March of this year, and really started ramping up, especially with people wanting to donate or to buy PPEs, for law enforcement or for hospitals, anything like that. So that's where the phishing scams begin. They're either phishing, going, hey, we're donating all this kind of stuff. We're looking for donations to help with this. And there's nothing behind it. It's just scamming people, or basically they're saying, hey, you're donating stuff, we'll help with it. We'll partner up. We'll do all this stuff. And then it never happens. And some way or another, they end up stealing all the material and everything like that we're going to make PPEs or get hand sanitizer to people, or They make bogus hand sanitizer that's burning people and causing physical harm
Mhm.
to them because they're using dangerous chemicals, instead of it. Um, there's been a lot of that going around. And being that we're still in the pandemic, even though that the vaccine's probably going to be nationwide probably in 3 to 4 months, hopefully, um, it's still going to be going around. There's always people, you know, uh, uh, falsely, representing themselves as the Red Cross or, any kind of, non-for-profit organization. Um, I get calls, I don't know, monthly, that some police department that I know is donating or looking to donate money from them, and it's like, this number is an 847 number. That's not even in the state we're in.
Right.
And who are you? And I'm like, did you know you called the police department? And then usually the phone hangs right. Um, but but it's never going to
Stupid
stop.
criminal.
If there's easy ways to try to get money, being email, over a website, where they duplicate the website
Hmm.
and you click on it and it takes you somewhere else, or you're clicking on a link in an email, anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So sometimes it's squatting, where they take a website with a name close
mhm,
to the one that they want you to go to. You click on it in the email. You go there. It looks like the Red Cross. Or in the beginning of this, I think it was February or March, the CDC
mhm,
had this happen to them.
that's correct.
And so I think, if I remember right, the criminals got about 100,000 out of that scam just in a matter of hours. People wanting to help. Sometimes they take you to a website that's infected. So now you don't know it, but you're infected from their website. And sometimes that happens to legitimate websites too. Not every, and I know this because I offer it as a service. A lot of businesses don't think to either they don't think to secure their website, or they don't think they need to secure their website once they know they should. And so they don't. So an awful lot of legitimate businesses have websites that are, um, well, that have viruses in them, or other nasty stuff attached to them. So all that said, the pandemic has just created another market. You've already got cute puppies, and you've already got celebrity pictures and all the other stuff. This is just another target market for them to hit. Um, you mentioned well, let's go on because this comes up a little later.
Well,
On
and
the,
also the other thing is through social media,
yeah.
like Facebook and stuff like that, where people are trying to buy PS5s, and everyone's like, "Oh, we got them for $1,000," and all of a sudden you find out it's three people in a parking lot and no PS5.
Yeah.
But it's also happening with pandemic supplies, with PPEs and hand sanitizer and stuff like that, that they're trying to sell it over, Facebook and eBay and stuff like that. So it's still, people still have to, protect themselves and do some research before they're just jumping in. Every day on the news, there's a 12 to 16-year-old kid who has $1,000 that's burning a hole in his pocket. He can't wait for the PS5. And he's like, "Oh, I got ripped off. I don't know what I was thinking."
Yeah.
They're not thinking. They just want what they want when they want it, and they think that they're going to get it.
I've often wondered, why is it now? I don't want everybody that's on the right side of the law to start thinking like a criminal. Don't
Yeah.
take this away from me, but take that away from what I'm going to say. Why is it that people cannot understand that criminals think like criminals? To expect everybody to deliver what they say they will. Hey, I got a PS5 for $1,000. You can have it. Yeah. Well, why would you think that would be legit? I mean, why
I,
would?
well, I mean, think about it. There's all different kinds of secondhand apps now,
Yeah,
like because it's blowing up. You see people making all kinds of money legitimately through eBay,
sure.
through, all the other, and there's a bunch of, a bunch of things like that. But every once in a while on eBay and stuff like that, people get scammed
Hmm.
and that person's removed from it. Well, all those people that are getting removed from it are going to these brand new ones that are popping up on your phone, you
Yeah.
know, throw away trash or, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. If you're going to do it, say the only way you're going to pick it up is meet at a police station. Every police station knows about these scams. Everybody knows about it. And you do the transaction in our parking lot or in our lobby or any lobby, they're going, we even have signs up saying, if you're doing transactions, come inside, you know, so
I had a young person tell me that they had done that, and they actually bought the system online
Mhm.
for eight something, whatever it's going for, and then they sold it for $1,000.
Mhm.
And the person that wanted to meet him, they weren't going to ship it through eBay because they didn't want to pay the shipping. They didn't have
Yeah.
that big a margin between what they'd sold, what have you. So they met him at the police department, and I'm thinking it was in the parking lot. You actually have people come in the lobby and do these transactions?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. And we try to promote it at every one of our town hall meetings or crime watch meetings. Rami is part of our crime watch captain.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Rami.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, we do all that kind of stuff to make sure that everybody's safe and there's no, at least as minimal criminal activity in town as possible.
Uh-huh.
you know. But just because you don't live in Munster doesn't mean that no other police department will allow this, because everyone wants the transaction safely, especially like um, I I'm drawing a blank on all the other, like eBay like uh,
Yeah.
websites.
I don't even buy
But
on eBay.
yeah,
If they don't have it at Amazon, I probably don't need it. So
right.
yeah.
But like Craigslist,
Yeah.
Craigslist, a lot of people are getting robbed because they're like, oh, I don't drive. Can you drive the product to me?
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh, well, I'll be out in front of my house. It's not their house,
You're
and
right.
they take the item from you and walk away.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of scams to it. And what we were talking about before the show, all the car thefts and robberies that are occurring. And please be aware of your surroundings,
Yeah.
when you're out late at night, and you know it's just not safe out there.
You again, just to we're veering from our
Yeah, we are. I know.
slate of
I don't
topics,
mean to.
but really amazed me when you were talking before we started recording about how many carjackings there are.
Mhm.
I don't. I confess, I don't. I might read the news. I might go online and look at news stories, but I don't watch the local stuff that much because it's always people doing stupid stuff and getting hurt by it.
Yes, it's
Uh,
always.
I just get tired of listening to it.
Oh yeah, we get tired
I
of
don't know how you live with it. Honestly, I really don't. So you're a nice guy and you got a good sense of humor. I don't know how you deal with this stuff every day.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. It's
but
brutal.
but people leave their key fob in their car. They leave it running and they go in to get a cup of coffee, and then they wonder why somebody steals their car. Or
I,
they leave it in their driveway with the key fob in it.
Yes, yes. So I mean, and I get it. When I was a kid, I worked at a White Ham pantry, and when I would come home from school or whatever, I'd leave my car running. I'd go in, never thought anything of it. 30 years later,
Uh-huh.
people are smarter, and they're like, "Oh, a crime of opportunity." They get in
Yeah.
the car and drive away, and who's going to stop them? Because these people that are running, they're it's fight or flight, and they're all into flight. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if they take out your car or not, or take out somebody else's car.
Mhm.
Um, there's state police with helicopters at night now to help kind of stop this. We had a helicopter help us chase down a car um, a week ago.
Yeah. Jeez.
The other day, there were a car driving through the suburbs going down south, and they were just driving through red lights, and zipping around cars. And our officer is like, "I'm not going to endanger anybody's life. We're stopping here." You know, it's the latest craze because they don't. I don't mean to get on a soapbox right now, and we'll get back to what we're talking about, but the the repercussions of auto theft is less than a teenager stealing a cell phone from a cell phone store.
Yeah. I just,
And that goes with whatever harm they do to the person taking the car, any kind of insurance damage, any resulting damage to other people or other cars, all plays into it, and it's less time than that. Where more time comes in is if they have, if they're criminal, if they've caught with a gun, if they're over age, or over 21, I should say.
mhm.
um, there's a lot that goes into it, and seeing it every day and seeing our guys putting their life on the line all the time, there's something's got to be done, you
Yeah.
know.
I just can't imagine how we let our priorities slip the way they have. I rip off a phone in a cell store, like a Verizon store or something, and I get much more time for that than I do if I stop some poor person, open their car, yank them out, drag them for a while, maybe hold them up, maybe steal their stuff at the same time, maybe hit them a few times. All of this stuff just comes into play unless I'm a felon and I've got a stolen gun on me, because I'm not going to have a legal gun on me.
That's
Uh,
right.
unless I'm a felon with a stolen gun, I'm pretty much walking.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
And then one of, just like in that same scenario you were saying, then they ditch the car, the innocent person's car,
Mhm.
into a swamp or a ditch, or a pond, and the car's ruined, and
Mhm.
they're swimming away. you
Jeez.
know yeah, and I'm a video game guy. I'm not going to say, Grand Theft Auto or all that other stuff didn't put stuff like this into their heads,
Yeah.
but they get it from somewhere. They're either getting it from older people that are doing it, because um, one of the reports I was reading in Illinois, one adult and four kids were going around stealing cars. So he was showing them the ropes. So all the four underage kids are going to juvenile hall,
Mm.
and the older guy went to adult jail.
Yeah.
And is it going to stop these four kids? Are
Yeah.
they, do they need to be prosecuted like adults? And it's sad, because that's four lives right there that this one guy ruined.
Yeah.
you know
What's the old Charles Dickens Oliver Twist? Is that where the pickpocket teaches? Isn't it
yeah.
Oliver
Yep.
how to
Yep.
pickpockets and all that?
Yep.
We haven't evolved from that.
Nope. No, we have not. And then look at going back to cyber, and where do you think all the cyber criminals are getting it from? They go on to the dark web. They
Yeah.
buy a lot of the links. They're script kiddies. They're buying everything, because look at that. You don't get chased. You're not seen.
Yeah.
It's all undercover. There's more reward, less whatever, because if you're not,
Consequences. Yeah.
yeah, if you're not stealing over a certain dollar amount, the feds aren't after you. No one's after you.
If you're in Jamaica and you're hitting somebody in America,
Yep.
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
If they're outside the US, unless it happens to be Canada or Great Britain,
Mhm.
after that, I mean, that's pretty much they're scot free.
Scot
It
free.
it just and they don't have to go to the dark web to learn how to do it. There's great YouTube videos on everything. And a lot of the stuff is available on the World Wide Web. You don't have to go to the dark web. It's free.
Mhm.
It just is crazy. Just absolutely crazy. What a crazy world.
I've only had maybe one or two students that I sat in the classroom going, I can't believe I'm teaching this kid this, and he's going to turn around and do
Yeah.
this outside the classroom. All the other students I've ever had, you know, understand the responsibility of it, want to go into the field, want to be
Yeah.
somebody to help with this. But there's people out there that see the ease of doing a lot of this, and you know, how are they going to catch me? How are they going to do this? You
In a
know,
world where young people aren't taught values, they aren't taught ethics, they're not taught morals,
Mhm.
and they see a way to easy money. And let's face it, every movie they see glorifies this stuff. Most television shows glorify this stuff. Not all of them. I mean, everything in the entertainment industry isn't bad, but an awful lot of them are. The games, I mean, you don't have to be a mental giant to figure out, with that much input telling them to do it and nothing telling them not to do it. It's
Mhm.
the old devil and angel on the shoulder. Well, the devil's the only one's got a voice.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm amazed it isn't worse than it is. Maybe it is, and we just haven't heard worst of it. I don't know.
So,
I'm getting
it,
depressed. Let's.
something to think about, and it comes back to cybersecurity. One of the cars that we recovered had a tablet in it, and it was called X Tool.
Mhm.
This device, we started researching that with under a minute on any Dodge car
Mhm.
from 2020 down to 2001
Yeah.
can reprogram a key, enter the car, and steal the car in under a minute
Yeah.
without breaking anything on the car.
Yeah.
It has the ability, like when you hit the alarm button on it, to capture the alarm button, so it can do like the open sesame trick
Uh-huh.
and unlock the car. Then they use it to clone the key inside the car and drive away.
Mhm.
Now, the one that we recovered had every car manufacturer on it. I was looking for my car on it, and I'm like, hey, guess what? My car's secure. It doesn't work on it. Good enough. That's all I care about. But that's why if you start looking at all these cars that are being stolen, they're Jeeps, they're Dodges, because the keys are cheap.
Yeah.
They can steal the keys, steal cars, and keep the keys, ditch the car when it's, ruined or whatever, they're gonna find it. And then they take that key and go steal another one. They go to parking lots, they go everything like that, and it's very easy.
I'll
That
never forget when I had a sports car, which is not that many years ago. I'm sitting parked at the post office, and I'm walking in to pick up some mail or to mail something,
Mhm.
and kid says, "Oh, cool car!" It was a little BMW Z car,
Sure.
and so he's going on, and he looks in, he says, "Oh, you got a theft deterrent." I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, nobody knows how to drive a stick anymore. They're not going to steal your car. I may go buy another one with a stick."
I agree with that. We were just having that discussion where kids don't want to learn how to drive stick. That was the first car I ever learned how to drive,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it
And
wasn't the first car. I learned how to drive stick. We're way off the subject now, but I got a job when I was 17 at an automotive repair place. And the first week, I don't know if it was the first day, but right new on the job, I'm still wanting to impress the boss and keep my job. He
sure.
says, "We need these tires delivered over at this other store." Well, I had no idea what that other store was. He said, take the van and run them over there. It was a standard, which had the shift on the column
Three on the column, sure.
and a clutch. I'd never driven a clutch. I'd seen people move the stick around on the column. I didn't know beans about it. I don't know why, because he watched me for a minute as I backed it up to the wall. Well, I'd meant to go forward. I'm like that commercial where the guy looks behind him and instead he wipes out everything in front of
Yeah.
him. Well, I was the opposite. I was backing up and I meant to go forward. And I don't know why that thing had a clutch left in it by the time I got to the other store and back to the store I'd left. That's how I learned to drive a stick. So my own son had no desire to learn the stick. And I don't know that I would have let him drive that sports car when he was a kid anyway, but I might have. But I won't say I did in case he watches this.
Oh, of course, of
yeah.
course, of course.
But still, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. So we're way off the subject, but I got to tell you, I really have appreciated the conversation, and I hope everyone's enjoying listening to it. I'm going to take a quick break because we're at that place. I'm a little early, but we're at that point where it's good to get it done and out of the way. So you're listening to Ron Bush. I own Ron Bush Consulting, and we're a cybersecurity consultancy. If you'd like to get in touch with us, ronbushconsulting.com. I like things simple when I can keep them that way. Cybersecurity is complex enough. ronbushconsulting.com. So email me, ron@ronbushconsulting.com. If you're interested in the show, and I hope you are, if you catch us on demand, subscribe to YouTube or subscribe to our channel on podcasting. I would love to hear you that way you know when a new program is being posted. But if you're listening to us on radio, you're in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I love WVLP. They do a great work in the community. Check out their website, wvlp.org. If you'd like to underwrite this program or anything, any of their other programs, I wouldn't say anything else they have, but any other of their other programs, you can do that right there on the website. So check them out and stream us if you're of a mind to. We're on Monday mornings from 8 to 9 and Friday afternoons from 1 to 2, wvlp.org. John, how can people reach you if they're interested in what we're talking about and want to talk further with you?
Sure. You can always reach out to me through Munster Police Department. My email address is jlohrentz@munster.org. And if we can't help you, if there's something serious, we definitely have the contacts to get other people to help you.
Great. So I don't know if we want to pick up where we left off or go to the Nigerian prince.
I think
number two.
we could go back to our list and see if we can make it to the end. That's what I'm thinking.
So the Nigerian prince, here's the old scam. And the Nigerian prince scam existed before the internet. It didn't just start with emails. But most people will be familiar with it through emails. So you get this email from this guy claims to be a Nigerian prince, and it's probably from Nigeria. Who knows? And so he says he's got $120 million that sometimes they put it in their whatever the currency is for Nigeria, but it equates to $120 million US dollars, and he wants your help to help him get that money out of his country. And there's all different reasons. There's all different versions of the scam. Now, any thinking person, or even comatose maybe, you got to ask yourself, I don't know this guy. He's a prince in Nigeria, he says, and he's got $120 million bucks. How did he ever find me, little old me, to help him move all of this money? It boggles the mind that it ever worked, and yet it still works.
Well,
it's working today.
Yeah, you could find it. It's we periodically look for it in like eBay, through newspapers, through any kind of social media stuff, because what they're doing is they're like, hey, we're a company, we're hiring you, and checks and stuff will come to you, and you'll have to deliver it or deposit the check and move the check along. So right there, they're telling you you're a mule.
Yeah.
You're going to deposit probably illegal money into your bank account. You keep some, you send it forward. They take your money away from you and say, you're sending this to, illegally, and they're going after, big time charges against you for wire fraud and all kinds of stuff. And I don't understand why Chicago Sun-Times or Tribune they still put these in the want ads,
Mm.
or Craigslist full of them. You can go look at them now saying, no, make 30 to 50 bucks an hour for doing transactions. And I don't know. I think they're contributing to part of it,
Yeah.
because if they didn't advertise this stuff, you know, it people wouldn't be more inclined to try to do it, because they're trusting that, you know, the Chicago Sun-Times or the Tribune or whatever are trying to be a little more legitimate, maybe not Craigslist or, Facebook or something like that, but it's the same Nigerian prince scam now, cyber. It's now all over the place.
Yeah. So moving on to the third one, accelerating ransomware attacks. Now,
Yeah.
I've got a student that dug up some. I've got to find out his source. I haven't done that yet, but he in a paper talked about how in 2018 the FBI did a survey or a study. They did research and discovered that a crazy number of attacks happened that were documented. They estimated that those attacks on Americans were only 15% of what had actually happened. I can't remember the figure they had that they built on, but that came out to 233 million attacks. And a good number of those are ransomware attacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
you know why, right? Because people either don't report them, they pay like community hospital.
uh,
And it ties into our pandemic, that so now we have a bunch of people on life support systems or ventilators,
mhm,
on pandemic. And what if community hospital gets ransomware and
yeah,
they shut everything down
yeah,
through a breach attack simulation?
mhm,
And basically they shut down the building and say, hey, we're going to shut down the building if you don't pay. Well,
mhm,
they're not going to report it. They're going to pay and just go right through business.
yeah,
Maybe they'll report it later on down the road. There's a lot of companies that get hit and people recover from. We helped a NISA member recover from it because their IT department was on vacation. Like, it was a prime time.
the whole
Apparently,
department.
the whole department got
Oh my
hit.
gosh!
So they're like, hey, we need some help. Our guy's flying back from Hawaii, and I'm like, sure, you're going to have to help me with your network. You're going to have to give me some information to get
Uh,
on. And we did a recovery. Their backup was poor. And so they learn they need to do better backups or
mhm.
timely backups or complete backups. But
So,
within a day or two, they were able to get back online and do payroll and stuff like that. And the guy then could rebuild his servers, but they never paid. So, are they in, and they're not out anything other than time and energy, so are they going to report something like that? We've
yeah, yeah,
been watching that for a couple years now, and I could understand that. Like, or when Atlanta was attacked
mhm.
and the whole city of Atlanta was down. How many people are that? Were they reported, or is that just considered one massive attack instead of 30,000 businesses?
Yeah. Now, the scary thing, those are excellent examples. The figure that I could remember was 85% of the crimes did not get reported. 85%. But to go along with your examples, and I that's wonderful that you were able to help that one company. But the last 2 years, really started in 2019. It's been done before that, but we started seeing a trend in 2019 to combine attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So now they encrypt your data, but they steal it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now there's two ways this fleshes out or this works out. One, you say, no, I got good backups. I don't need you, and I don't need what you've got. I'm just going to go ahead and restore.
Mhm.
Well, now they say, oh, yeah, well, we're going to post everything that you've got on the web.
Mhm.
So guess what? None of your private data is private anymore.
Nope.
Or they take your money and now you've raised your hand as the gift that keeps on giving because they know they can hit you again and they can sell your information to other hackers that will also hack you and extort money from you.
Mhm.
So now they take your money for the ransomware and they still post it on the web or they sell it to
Mhm.
other on the dark web and they
Mhm.
sell it all over the dark web.
Mhm.
So it becomes at this point, there's no win to this. You
Nope.
got to have good backups or you're dead in the water because 1 out of 5 don't give you the decryption key. You give them the money, they don't give you the key to unlock it.
I mean, it is bad business for them not to give it to you.
It
You
is.
know, if they want to keep making money, they are going to give it out. But yes, we've seen stats of 1 in 6 even not pay out. But every time I know somebody that paid, like
Mhm,
the hospital or even, Strack and Van Til,
mhm,
when they had to publicize that they were attacked, they paid, they got the key for it.
mhm.
Now, did it solve the problem? Were they able to fix everything? They're not there as customer support. They're, here's our money, here's your key, see you later, we'll see you in a year,
Yeah,
attack you again.
yeah.
you know um I don't know. I don't know. It's a rough thing, especially depending on the industry that you're in,
Yeah.
that healthcare facilities under attack.
They've
So
been hit the hardest, and probably government after that,
yep.
cities and counties.
And then anything, and then banks,
Yeah.
financial institutions, that's going to be on the rise. Healthcare is always going to be a target. you know it's
I can go online and pay $1 for a social security number. I can go online and it'll cost me 35 to $50, or all the way up past 1,000 for
Mhm.
a medical record. Depends on the record.
Oh, sure,
I
sure.
mean, it takes longer to be discovered. There's a lot more income involved in it. You can sell things all over the place, and you've got health insurance, identity theft. I mean, there's just a zillion ways to make money off of
A
health
zillion,
records.
yes, yes.
So, and that's the thing that people, back to my earlier comment, you know, it boggles the mind. Again, I don't want people to think like criminals, but stop for a minute.
You almost have to because you see the goal of the criminal,
Yeah,
and you see how you're a victim,
yeah.
and that's how you have to prevent it. It's no simpler than that.
Yeah. When you
And
talked earlier about the kid stealing the car
yeah.
and running through all the red lights, didn't care, who he hit or
Yep.
who he ran over or anything else. Well,
Yep.
it's even worse online. They're not going to see you.
Nope.
There's no physical danger to it.
Nope.
And if they're outside the country, they got a great chance of not being busted for it. They can just steal to their heart's content.
And especially when it comes down to ethics, because you don't even see the person you're harming, you don't see
Yeah.
any victim in any shape, way, or form, and it's a lot easier to do it and again and again.
Yeah.
And especially if they're making money off of it, what's going to prevent them from doing it?
And honestly, it's hard for me to fathom anybody not making money off of it. And I
Oh,
hate to say that. It's too easy because Americans are too easy. We either refuse to recognize there's a problem or we refuse to educate ourselves in the problem. We just are in the state of deniability, to use an old joke, because I mean, why me? It'll be the other
yeah,
guy. I don't
yeah,
have
right.
any money. My business is small. They'll go after Forbes or somebody. They're not going to be after me. Well, buddy, you're a name on a list, and they're going to get to you just like they do all the big cats.
Yep.
And they're specialists. There's guys that specialize in the Fortune 500. There's other guys that specialize in the SMB market, just like all other industries.
Hmm.
It's a $1 trillion industry that is already bigger than illegal drug trade.
Oh, yeah.
It's already bigger than that. And I don't know any industry that's bigger. It number one as far as revenue goes, it would have to be cybercrime. Number two would be illegal drugs, and I don't know what number three is. You might. You're in the business,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah. It
In the
probably
good side of
something
the business.
something cash, right?
Yeah.
Something cash. Like when I worked for a ATM company, it seems like a lifetime ago now, like 10 years ago. That was when a lot of the ATM skimmers were out there, everywhere, and now there's a lot of protections on it. You only see that happen out in the boonies, some bank way down south where there's no one around so that they could, get up on the ATM, install their equipment and leave and then come back and get it.
Right.
Um, a lot of people try to steal credit card machines from point of sale terminals like at
Mhm.
my experience was Jewel, but you do it at Target, anywhere like that, because they hold the credit card information. You steal that, they could take all that information off and make cards. You could go to, you know, any site online. You just have to Google, blank credit cards,
Mhm.
and you could buy them 100 at a time.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of cases of people with a credit card skimmer that work at fast food locations. Like I stop giving my bank cards or credit cards at fast food when I'm going through drive-throughs, because they swipe it and then charge it and they keep it. Um, the latest scam is they don't make the card. They instantly transfer money over Facebook. They put in the card information and transfer it to their Facebook account, and then they move it. So if they have a fake Facebook account and they move it on, how are you going to catch them?
There's always something new. Always
There's
something new.
something new.
And it's because it's just like the war on terrorism, where we have to be right all the time. Terrorist only has to be right once. Well, it's the same thing with the cyber criminal. And again, people tell me on password. I had one tell me the other day, I write it in, and they named this foreign language, of course, to us, foreign language.
Sure.
And I reminded them, I've had people. I had one threw me for a second that they knew it. Oh, my passwords are all in Gaelic. Well, I hate to tell you, but the Irish have hackers too.
Yeah.
You know,
It just protects you here, but not everywhere else.
yeah. Well, any language will protect you here. Americans are famous for being uno language, one
Yes,
language.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not bilingual. We're Americans.
Yeah.
So, but it just, it amazes me how this all works. It all comes together. We best go on because I'm repeating myself here.
We like the sidetrack. That's okay. We're used to this. Our communication, our talks, I cherish them deeply.
Me too.
And everyone else will catch on eventually.
I
That's
don't know. I don't know if they can see the shiny things like you and I see them.
But you know what? It's educating people, not just in cyber,
Mhm.
but how to protect yourself outside your house or inside your house.
Yeah.
In a chaotic way. All these things we're talking about are all connected, just done in different forms. So I really don't think we always go off the handle. We may just go into cyber in some different angle that we didn't think we were talking about at the beginning of the show. But it all makes sense.
Yeah. I'll go with that. Yeah, sure. Beginning to sound like the Three Stooges here, Curly, I think. But, so number 4 was growing numbers of cloud breaches. This is, I've got a lot of my clients are in the cloud, and I've been pro cloud back when people were still asking me about white fuzzy things in the sky. It just it amazes me that people will go, they can shop for the right cloud. Let's say they use something common. Everybody will be familiar with iCloud or Google Cloud, or Microsoft's is now OneDrive, I think it is.
Yeah.
It was SkyDrive to start with, and I think it's OneDrive now. So those are all decent clouds.
Dropbox, there's Google
Dropbox,
Drive. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's all kinds of them. but people don't think about buying like a hive, where it's a combination of both secure and public because
Yeah.
of price wise and different things like that. And those are the ones really under attack.
Yeah.
You know, look at Amazon. Amazon will rent anybody's servers because they have so many cloud servers. You could go there and get that. A lot of people use servers for Bitcoin,
Mhm.
storing movies or torrents or everything like that. And I thought that that really was going to be the future, 5 years ago,
Mhm.
you know, and that everyone would have cloud services for everything in their house. All their IoT devices, everything.
Mhm.
Um, uh, there's a security company that does cameras, as I do a shameless plug for Wise Cameras.
Uh-huh.
Um, Everything's cloud, and it's
Self-disclosure, you're not
oh
affiliated with them or
yeah,
make
yeah, right. I'm
any
not an employee. Nothing. It's cheap. It's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's all cloud. I
Yeah.
mean, if someone steals it, I could still get the recording. I could get the recording of them stealing it. You know,
Yeah.
and like Ring Doorbell or any of the other ones that I am not affiliated with in any way or form. Um, but what we like about Ring is that they have Ring Neighborhood. So you could go and download the Ring app for your phone,
Uh-huh.
even though you don't have Ring, and see everybody's cameras.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
they share it so that if someone tried to break in their house or Christmas time, steal packages from their porch,
Uh-huh.
they share that with everybody in their neighborhood so they can say, hey, that guy stole my package.
Wow. That's great to know. I didn't know that. I'll check that out.
Yeah, yeah, and you could put it in a whatever circumference you want around your house. You could just have it as a town. You could have it as Chicago if you wanted it that big, but you're getting tons of video.
Yeah,
You
you'll
know,
never sleep nights if you had.
right, right. I just put it around my girlfriend's block so she knows what's going on, and I'm like, you'll be alerted if something's going on in your neighborhood, and she's like, oh, I like that.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
great.
yeah,
So here's a couple of things on the cloud. First off, you're responsible for configuring it correctly. You mentioned Amazon Web Services, AWS. Some of the biggest breaches that happened this year and last year happened on that cloud, and it's because
yeah.
they were misconfigured. They were not configured correctly,
Mhm.
and that falls back on the company IT. Normally, it might be a consultant or it might be something, but that falls back on the company that's renting the cloud space. The other thing is if you're a small company and you're doing it, let's say you're doing it with, well, you can still do it with AWS. AWS leases space in all increments. Google has the same opportunity, and we're talking about commercial.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
But you still got that responsibility. You also, I'm amazed that people will put passwords, the most
Simple.
popular password in America for years, I mean 12, 15 years, was password or some form of it.
Yep.
Password 123, or the at sign for the A and the zero for the O.
Sure.
Well, been replaced recently by one that used to be number two, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then those that are really secure, add 7 8 9 to it. That's not a password. That's just consecutive numbers. A
That's
hacker doesn't
something
have to
that
use
they.
cracking software. He can guess those.
Mhm.
So it's you got to have a strong password. You can have the best alarm system in the world, but if your if your password is "let me in," well, you're going to be letting a lot of people in.
Oh
So
yeah. And then to follow that up is people using all their common information that they have on social media sites. They're using their kids' names, they're using their pets' names, they're using their favorite baseball, football team.
yeah,
If you go on to someone's social media site and they're an active, really active person, you can tell right away who's if they have a favorite author, if they have all their kids, if they have grandkids, even, you know, that they're using all that information and people are trying it, especially if they're targeting you.
yeah,
You know, if they're targeting you, they could spend weeks, months gathering information and using that.
yeah. You have just given the gift to the social engineer, and there's zillions of them on Facebook. Many of them have 50, 100 accounts, so they can befriend just about anybody they want. I will never forget back when I had a Facebook account, and I'll never have a Facebook account again. So if you get a friend me or whatever it's called, you get an invite from me, it's bogus. It's not from me. So,
Oh,
but I guess my point is, a person that I knew, young lady that I knew, filled out one and then a second one of these things. There were 20 questions. You know, the old game 20
yep,
questions? Well, there
yep.
were 20 questions on this thing. And it was, what's your favorite book, and what's your favorite this, and what do you wish you had, and what was your first, all the stuff that gets used for the security questions on websites. She put it
What,
on Facebook, and
yeah,
not once, but twice.
what street did you live on? What
Yeah,
grade school did you go to? What was your mom's middle name? Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what? A lot of kids don't see that, and they think it's fun to
yeah,
fill out.
yeah. Oh,
Um, we've seen a lot of students in town, um, because their parents keep them off of social media,
mhm,
that kids end up sharing a social media account.
yeah,
So one kid who may be legitimately with their family using the account is now being used by 12 other people. You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know what they're clicking on. You don't know
yeah,
what information they're sharing. And you wonder why all of a sudden someone gets hacked.
yeah. Well, John, we're just about out of time. I don't know where it went. Somebody stole it from us when we weren't looking.
It
Um, it,
always goes so fast.
it does. It does. The last one, I'm going to skip 5 because it'll take more time. Attacks on the Internet of Things. Let's cover that because everybody's got IoT devices. There's 50 million of them out there now. It's estimated there'll be 75 million, I think, by 2023. I read the other day.
And it's just growing. I mean, same company that I talked about, their headphones have Alexa in it. So
Yeah.
while we're having on my headphone, if I'm like, oh damn, I got to order that from Alexa, instantly I'm on Alexa in my headphones. I'm like, it's out of control. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
of course, I had to buy the smart fridge, to go with the smart TV, to go with the smart everything else in the house. You know, gonna get the smart stove, gonna get the smart, yeah, it's all gonna be connected. Smart washer and dryer, everything. Someone could hack my house and wash my clothes. Go right ahead. Um, eh,
More than likely, I remember and this is a true story, or at least what I read said it was a true story. Guy was, I think he was divorced from his ex-wife, got the house, I guess, but he had all the codes to the smart thermostat. So
yeah,
he just kept, in the winter, he put the air on and ruined the air conditioner. In the summer, he put the heat on and ruined the furnace. They couldn't figure out what was going on because they weren't home when it happened. It's funny, but if you're replacing that stuff,
yeah,
man,
yes,
that's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah. That's good. That's good. I mean, or remember back when people were taking over Apple tablets.
Yeah.
And when the kids were using them, they were all of a sudden, Zooming with them or FaceTiming with them, through their devices. And they're like, who's a strange person? I mean, that capability's still there, but you don't ever see those attacks anymore.
No, no, but you do on the other, baby monitors that are taken over.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just crazy. Ring, I've heard initially, I don't have a Ring device. I'm the opposite from you. I don't have any smart devices. I want it. I'm in this stuff too much. No, thank you. Um, but Ring, I was told, had no security at all when it first came out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it got hacked all the time.
People were
And
getting videos and stuff like that. No different than Zoom. I mean,
yeah,
look, before Zoom had the waiting room, people realized that they could hack corporate meetings just for laughs.
well,
Um,
I've had Zoom for years, and I always used the not the waiting room. I always
yeah,
used the waiting room, and I always had it gave you a password, and you could change that password anytime you wanted. Well, I did that. It just seemed natural to do it. It never occurred to me that nobody else did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Zoom bombing became a fad, I
A
guess. I have,
fad's come and gone,
yeah.
sure, because people, learn from it, and that's what we have to do is treat things like a fad.
Hmm.
Okay, it affected you before. This is what it did. This is how you're going to defend yourself, and we'll make it a fad that has gone away. That's the way we have to treat stuff.
Well said, John. We're down to 3 minutes. So let me say who we are again and how to catch us.
Absolutely.
And if we've got time, a last word from you, or at least your email address.
Absolutely.
So you've been listening to the Information Playground. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. I always enjoy conversations with John, whether they're recorded or not. We always have a good time. Um, you can catch us at WVLP. That's 103.1 FM if you're in Valparaiso. Stream us. We're on Monday mornings from 8 to 9, Friday afternoons from 1 to 2. Catch us on any of the podcast channels or the YouTube channel at the Information Playground. And I'm Ron Bush. Ron at ronbushconsulting.com is my email. John, how can people reach you? That's as fast as I've ever done that.
Absolutely. That was phenomenal. That was dead on. You can get me at Munster Police. You can email me at jlohrentz@munster.org, and we can assist you with anything that you got going on. I've assisted other police departments in Crestwood and from Illinois to Indiana, and more than willing to help.
Great, great. Well, thanks for being on. It's always fun, and
Always
always
fun.
enjoy it. Anybody has any questions, email me if you got questions for John, or I don't know.
Send questions in for the show for next time.
There you go. There you go. Something that you want us to be serious about or have fun with. Either one. We'll probably have fun with it either anyway. Send them
Sidetrack.
along. Send them to John or send them to me or both. Love to hear from you. And info at wvlp.org is the station. It'd be great to include them, especially if you're interested in underwriting any of their programs. They'd love to hear from you. So with that, we're out of time. Thank you, John, and have a great Christmas, everyone.
Excellent.